Jimmy Carter, a one-term president who became a globe-trotting elder statesman, dies at 100. CNN. Former President Jimmy Carter, a Georgia peanut farmer who vowed to restore morality and truth to politics after an era of White House scandal and who redefined post-presidential service, died Sunday at the age of 100. The Carter Center said the 39th president died in Plains, Georgia, surrounded by his family. The White House has been notified that Carter has died, per a Biden administration official. Preparations for the state funeral have begun, according to a law enforcement official. Carter had been in home hospice care since February 2023 after a series of short hospital stays. Carter, a Democrat, served a single term from 1977 to 1981, losing a re-election bid to Ronald Reagan. Despite his notable achievements as a peacemaker, Carter's presidency is largely remembered as an unfulfilled 4 years shaken by blows to America's economy and standing overseas. His most enduring legacy, though, might be as a globe-trotting elder statesman and human rights pioneer during an indefatigable 43-year retirement. Carter became the oldest living former president when he surpassed the record held by the late George H.W. Bush in March 2019. Carter's beloved wife, Rosalind, died in November 2023. They had been inseparable during their 77-year marriage, and after she passed away, the former president said in a statement that as long as Rosalind was in the world, I always knew somebody loved and supported me. The former president attended his wife's memorial events, including a private burial and a televised tribute service in Atlanta, where he was seated in the front row in a reclined wheelchair. He did not deliver any remarks. Carter took office in 1977 with the earnest promise to lead a government as good and honest and decent and compassionate and filled with love as are the American people, following what had started as an unlikely long-shot bid for the Democratic Party's nomination. The Southerner with a flashing smile did enjoy significant successes, particularly abroad. He forged a rare, enduring Middle East peace deal between Israel and Egypt that stands to this day, formalized President Richard Nixon's opening to Communist China, and put human rights at the center of U.S. foreign policy. But Carter was ultimately felled by a 444-day hostage crisis in Iran, in which revolutionary students flouted the U.S. superpower by holding dozens of Americans in Tehran. The feeling of U.S. malaise triggered by the crisis was exacerbated by Carter's domestic struggles, including a sluggish economy, inflation, and an energy crisis. At times, Carter's principled moral tone and determination to strip the presidency of ostentation, such as by selling the official yacht, Sequoia, seemed to verge on sanctimony. But out of office, Carter won admiration by living his values. Just a day after one of several falls he suffered in 2019, he was back out building homes for Habitat for Humanity, even with an ugly black eye and 14 stitches, and teaching Sunday school as he had done several hundreds of times. The devout Southern Baptist's life's work was only just beginning when he limped out of the White House, humiliated by Reagan's 1980 Republican landslide, in which the incumbent won only 6 states and the District of Columbia. As one of the youngest of former presidents, I expected to have many useful years ahead of me, Carter wrote in his 1982 memoir, Keeping Faith. He proved as good as his word, going on to become a humanitarian icon, perhaps more popular outside the United States than he was at home. Over 4 decades, Carter, Rosalind, and his Atlanta-based organization monitored hotspot elections, negotiated with despots, battled poverty and homelessness, fought disease and epidemics, and promoted public health in the developing world. In the process, Carter did nothing less than reinvent the concept of the post-presidency, blazing a philanthropic path since adopted by successors such as Bill Clinton and, in Africa, George W. Bush. His efforts on behalf of his Carter Center, founded to wage peace, fight disease, and build hope, yielded a Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. Even into old age, Carter remained a polarizing political figure. He was an uneasy member of the ex-president's club, sometimes frustrating successors like Clinton and criticizing the foreign policies of George W. Bush and Barack Obama, and of U.S. allies such as Israel. In recent years, he came full circle as he warned of the corrosive impact on American politics of a scandal-plagued White House, just as he did when his critique of the Nixon era helped him beat the disgraced Republican ex-president's unelected successor, Gerald Ford, in 1976. After Carter left office, he and Ford became close friends. In September 2019, Carter warned Americans against re-electing President Donald Trump. "I think it will be a disaster to have 4 more years of Trump," he said. After losing re-election, his work at the Carter Center became a great consolation. The ex-president said in a moving news conference detailing a cancer diagnosis in August 2015 that being president had been the highlight of his political career, even if it ended prematurely, though he would not swap another 4 years in the White House for the joy he had taken after leaving office and working with the Carter Center. And he said he was at peace with his legacy after a rich, fulfilling life. "I think I have been as blessed as any human being in the world." Carter also said at that August news conference that marrying Rosalind was the pinnacle of his life. He is survived by 4 children, Jack, Chip, Jeff, and Amy, 11 grandchildren, and 14 great-grandchildren, according to the Carter Center. In April 2021, President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden visited the Carters at their home in Plains, after the former presidential couple was unable to travel to Washington for the 46th president's inauguration.